Welcome to my presentation on Mexican wine production. I hope you enjoy it. I'm Victoria and this is Mexico. So Mexico was in fact the first North American wine growing region. Interesting knowing that it's a new world wine growing region now, but it actually all began in the 16th century. The first commercial winery was Hacienda de San Lorenzo in the Pear Valley. It still exists today as Casa Madero. It didn't really become a new world wine growing region closer to the 1700s when wine production really started to become successful. In 1969, a ban was put into place. No wine was to be produced unless for church purposes. The prohibition remained until 1821, and then in the early 1700s, a priest planted vines in Baja, California, and things really started to take off from there. Here's just a brief little illustration of the wines grown in Mexico. They do have 7,700 acres of vineyards, and with a wide range of French, Spanish, and Italian grapes. Otherwise, we'll get into more detail as this presentation continues. So we do have three main wine growing regions in Mexico. We have Baja California and Sonora, and then we have La Laguna, which is located straddling the states of Coahuila and Durango. And then you've got the third region, which is more central, which has your states Querétaro, Zacatecas, and Aguascalientes. We are going to start with northern Baja and Sonora. Oh, and one little fun fact, I was actually born in Mexico City. Not that I know anything about the wine growing regions as I left when I was very young, but just something interesting to add. Baja California and Sonora have a Mediterranean climate and decomposed granite soils. They have protection from the mountains. They do receive about 55 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit weather with very little precipitation. Requires irrigation. You'll notice that a lot in Mexico. They also have 50% of Mexican vineyards, but only 19 to 25% of those vineyards are actually used to produce wines. So here we have Baja California and Sonora. They have a Mediterranean climate with decomposed granite soils and protection from the mountains. This allows them to produce strong, bold wines. And then to the west, you've got Val de Guadalupe, which produces 90% of Mexico's wine, and with their warm days and cool nights, they produce Great Barbera, Tempranillo, Cab Sauvignon, Merlot, Zinfandel. And then we'll put a little bit more focus on Val de Guadalupe, as they are 90% of Mexican's wine production. Val de Guadalupe is located in Baja and actually does produce 90% of Mexican wine. So we are going to put a little focus on this region here. Their valley runs northeast to southwest on either side of the Guadalupe Valley, stretching from the Pacific coast to the inland. Vineyards are planted between 1,000 feet to 1,250 feet, mostly on flat plains surrounded by hills. It does have a Mediterranean climate due to the Pacific Ocean to the west and the Gulf of Mexico to the east. And their terroir provides wines with a saltiness, spice to them, which in fact makes them pair beautifully with Mexican foods, such as a nice beef taco topped with jalapeno salsa. And they are still determining what their perfect grape for their land is, but they do have great potential for Cabernet, Tempranillo, Malbec, Syrah, Grenache, and Nebbiolo. Like many New World wine growing regions, Val de Guadalupe is also experimenting with what they can do with wine, such as Donna Loop is producing an organic wine from grapes that are also grown organically. Now we move to our next region, which is La Laguna, straddling the states Coahuila and Durango. So in La Laguna, you have the grapes in Durango, which are used mostly for brandy, but Coahuila has a prize wine growing region, which is Valtepera. It is the home to the oldest winery in North America. This vineyard is about 5,000 feet altitude, creating a cooler microclimate opposed to the areas surrounding it, which are much more desert-like. The temperatures remain around the 60s all year long, using the springs from nearby mountains to feed these vineyards. And once again, 25% of the grapes are actually used for wine. La Laguna's climate really helps produce ripe, full-bodied wines. With their warm temperatures, they produce a lot of their best quality grapes are those that are warmer ripening varieties. such as Syrah, Chenin Blanc, Cabernets, and Tempranillos. They do produce other ones as well, but those are, like we said for previous region, their best quality grapes. This brings us to our last and most central region. Clay soils, which helps with water retention and is located 6,500 feet above sea level. It is, in fact, the highest, they have the highest vineyards in Mexico. This region is known for its Vino Espumoso, which is sparkling wine. Definitely what Central Mexico is known most for its sparkling wine, but they do produce table wines using Pinot Noir and some Bordeaux Reds. But at the end of the day, they're still sparkling. Freixenet Winery is their most well known, and you can actually pick that up at the LCBO at a very low cost of like $12.95. In Mexico, it is very common to use vertical shoot positioning, VSP, as the top wire holds the fruit and the bottom wire holds the irrigation drip line. They also do deleafing and green harvesting is what they call it. That is dropping the unripe fruit to allow the other fruit to ripen quicker and faster and better to allow for better quality. Mexican wine has no appellation laws. They have no label restrictions and no production requirements, giving the winemakers all the freedom in the world. That can be great for the winemaker, but at the same time, not necessarily the best for the consumer, as you never know what you're going to get, leading to very common inconsistencies, but can also lead to a lot of really interesting things. Mexican wine production is increasing every single year, although they are still more known for their tequila and their beer. They do have a 40% tax on their wine, so that will certainly slow them down. But otherwise, a great region to go check it out. You may find something you love. Thank you very much for watching.